Ah, sorry. It's been a crazy couple minutes here. Welcome to the show. Whoa, what is going on? Sorry, I'm just gonna do a quick podcast here to kind of get the reaction of what's happened. And if you guys want to jump in to the chat room, that would be great. Feel free. There's a lot going down, and we might have another one. Because there are rumors flying around right now, and I've got my phone right here. And if you hear some buzzes, I may have to take some calls or whatever. But yeah, there's EP40 could be on his way out as well of Vancouver. Since I got Rossi, that can make some sense. But if you're just joining us, we have had a trade day that rivals the great Shea Weber, PK Subban, Stamkos signing trade day or whatever. You don't see these things very often, but this is something. This is something. And we have had this Quinn Hughes trade. We're gonna get to both of them, but we got to start with Quinn. Hello in the chat room. How you doing, buddy? It's good to see you. I guess you're okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk to you too. My head is spinning, and I mean, you know, when I've got my Fraggle Rock shirt on, that I mean business. So anyway, we have all right. So Minnesota, just hats off to Billy Guerin for pulling this off. And I know a lot of people are going to say he gave up a lot, and he did, but he might have gotten the best defenseman in the world. I mean, maybe second to Cale Makar, probably second, but overall, I'll take Quinn Hughes any day of the week. He's one of the best defensemen in it. He's a generational player, and there's no two ways about it. I mean, they gave up a lot to get him. There's no two ways about that. And you know that Minnesota, when they said they would do that this is what I was told, and I've been told this so many times. I talked to somebody in Minnesota who was just over the moon excited. This is really good, and I might try to get them on the podcast at some point here. And then I could tell you who they are, obviously, because they'll be here. But this was just an incredible, crazy thing. Is the website working? Because I mean, we got hit with so much traffic that I couldn't even. That's why this was delayed. I was trying to get that working. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. So thanks, bud, in the chat room there. All right, so let's talk about this trade. You got Quinn Hughes for a year and a half, right? You got that for sure. Minnesota is a place that people go and they love. You know, this is like a place when they go there, they love to play there. There's no question about that. So can Minnesota win them over in the year and a half? You know, you hope so, because they gave up a lot. First round draft pick, Rossi, who is really good. Let's not forget, like, he's a center, like he's a top center, a potential superstar center. Z Boehm, who is like, some people think could be Quinn Hughes, right? I don't think that, but I think he's good, but I think he's a little bit overrated. It's just my opinion. And that's saying, when they say he's like Quinn Hughes, I'm not saying he's overrated. He's a hell of a player, but to put him in the Quinn Hughes category, not yet. They also give Ogren, who is like another good player, and the first round draft pick. So that's 4 significant pieces, all young, that Vancouver just picked up tonight. It's a mega return, yeah. As it's said by, I'm sorry, my eyes are, I got to clean my glasses. I can't see what's going on in the chat room. I've been racing. Sorry, the website went down, everything went crazy. And we're also going to talk about the Tristan Jarry trade, because, and I'm going to keep you updated on Elias Pettersson and whether he's going to go somewhere, because there is a darn good chance. I was told that he could be moving tonight too. And it's, you know what? It's friggin', it is old school news thing here that I've talked about before. When I went to school for journalism back in the 1940s, they said, whenever you want to put out news, that's going to be that some people might be upset about. So like Minnesota, I mean, I don't think anyone's really upset about this. You do it on Friday after 5:00, because it's an old newspaper thing, because people didn't read the newspapers on the weekends. So if you want to put out good news, you put it out Sunday night, because then it'll be in Monday's paper and everybody's going to read it. Will this start a fire sale? William says, I would say this is a fire sale. I mean, I don't think it started a fire sale. I think this is the fire sale. I mean, and I think Elias Pettersson's going to be gone too. And I know some of my friends out there who are going to text me like crazy when I say this, but honestly, I heard the Flyers are very likely in on Elias Pettersson. They need a center, you know, and obviously EP40 and Rick Tocchet, they've had their ups and downs, but it's possible that we could see him go somewhere. I think Detroit is another one that's looking for a center. Detroit wanted Rossi in the biggest way. If he was going to be moved, I thought Detroit was going to get him. I really did. That's what everybody was talking about, at least. I'm getting a text. Hold on, guys. It was live by myself. I couldn't get anybody on my stupid other people. All my writers. I love my writers, but they're all out doing fun things on a holiday Friday night. Yes, EP will fetch a ton, Tom. He is. I mean, when I first saw him play, he was the first. And this is crazy to say, I know, but the way he tucks his shirt and the way he like sets himself up in the zone, he reminded me of Gretzky more than any other player I've ever seen. Like the way he skated, his size, everything kind of had that thing. He's obviously struggled since then, but he's got all the freaking talent in the world. He's a first line center, and there aren't that many of them. I did a whole article on this earlier. Capitals were close, apparently. That's what I just got from there. The Capitals were close. New Jersey's been waiting the whole time. They have an ace in their pocket, or two aces. They have two Hughes. Oh, I never got to use my really good headline. Jacques Hughes. Come on, it's right there. It's oh man, that's just like a picture of Quinn Hughes and say Jacques Hughes on it. Man, I wanted to use that so badly. Anyway, yeah, get in the chat room. Tell me what you think. Athletic reporting. Kevin Evans may be gone. Yeah. Xavier's terms out. Yeah, we'll get to that too. I think it's time, right? In Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, I like him, but I like Kevin Adams. But Kevin Adams, Lindy Ruff, and Lindy Ruff is a great coach. And even though he's an old coach, people are still in the league that tell me that he was the best coach they've ever had, and these aren't like old players. There's some of the younger players. Thanks, Tom. You like that, Jackie? It's a big delay. I gotta drink something. So who's next? All eyes have to be on Elias Pettersson. They really do. That is, there's no question that has to be the next guy. I mean, what Vancouver did here is rebuild in a hell of a hurry. I mean, Minnesota's a good team. They gave up a lot. And when I was talking to them, and they were like fired up, they knew they gave up a lot, but they were fired up still. Because when can you get a guy like this? And how much excitement is going to bring? I mean, how many friggin' Jack Hughes jerseys are they going to sell out there? I want to get one of the green. I'm going to get one of the green. The green, the old Minnesota North Stars colored one is so cool. I don't have that one. I have a Minnesota North Stars jersey right over there, but I don't have a Minnesota Wild green and yellow. All right, let's go to the other one for a second. As I've been saying all week, Binnington is going to go to Edmonton. Right? I've been writing about it every day. I talked to friends of Matthews who said that was going to happen. But Matthews, not friends of McDade's. Of course, that didn't happen. And a lot of people are going to wonder why. And I did do Tristan Jarry, earlier in the month. I had a Tristan Jarry to Edmonton as an E4. I am really shocked that Edmonton did this deal. I'm really shocked that they did it. And as far as we'll get to you, Tom, I'm figuring where I think Pettersson's going to go, because I'm actually getting some texts right as we speak about that, and I may have to call somebody and mute you guys for a second, but we'll let you know. I don't think Jarry's better than Skinner. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think that Jarry's never won a playoff series. And for what, you can say we won about Skinner. I mean, he got him to the Stanley Cup Finals twice, right? I mean, yes, he didn't make the big Grant Fuhrer saves, but the guy who makes those saves isn't Tristan Jarry. It's Jordan Binnington. And I think that St. Louis, again, played them a little bit, because I just saw the player I wrote about going in the trade, went in the trade. They did. Edmonton had to move on from the defenseman whose name escapes me right now because I am just exhausted. But yeah, Skinner. there's no cooler guy like in person than Skinner. He's just the nicest person in the world. So it's hard to really, but he hasn't made big saves at big times, and that's the reality, right? So as we sit there, and that's reality, and neither has Jari, like, and this is now I know he had a bad year yet last year, Tristan, and he came in at the end of the year when it didn't matter. A lot of people pointed out and looked really good, right? But if I'm McDavid, I don't want what might be okay. Like, I want to go after. Yeah, right. Sorry, Kubek. Yeah, Kublik. I'm so spent. My gosh, you have no idea what the day's been like. Well, you do a little bit because you've been following it at home, but for me, it's been on the phone every 5 seconds, and I'm getting so many texts as I talk right now. Mostly just friends. So come in the chat room here, guys, if you want to talk. Kulak, thank you. Brett Kulak, who I wrote yesterday, was part of the Bennington discussions. So I knew he was the guy who was going to go to make the salaries work. But think about what Pittsburgh pulled off here. Like, they might not make the playoffs, right? So, and if they do make the playoffs, they got a guy who's won in the playoffs, and Skinner. To me, Dubas is sneaky good sometimes. For me, he's either really good or really not. But in this situation, I think he killed it. I think I want Edmonton to have the best shot they have. And you know what? Jari's the kind of guy who can get hot. But any goalie can. But like Jari, when the reason he signed this big contract was he was hot for a little while there. Remember? So, excuse me. Maybe that's going to be good. You got to drink. My God, kids. All right. So, holy cow! 1 second. Another text. Yeah, I think Zebram being part of this trade is what really has people kind of like scratching their head, but he's not. Listen, I mean, he's on a track to be one of the best defense in the league, but he's still not Jack Hughes, and he's not going to be Jack Hughes, and that's okay. I mean, not many people are going to be Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes. I've lost my mind, and I'm talking to no one. I'm there. A lot of you watching, which is cool, but I'm just like, it's weird not to have like a co-host or whatever because I'm just talking into silence. Okay. Ooh, Capitals. So the Caps were in on this, and now they might be in on EP40. It says, according to a source. We'll give that an E3 source, which means they're not connected with the Capitals or the Canucks, but they are a good source and they know things, and they may be a GM from another team, for example, or just somebody. But an E4 would be if that person was with one of those teams. I haven't gotten that yet, but the Capitals, they've been looking. They do want to. I mean, there is still a big push to make this year special in Washington. No question about that. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. All right, only text me. You're getting reaction from people like that's an assistant GM who I've known forever, and he's like, "Holy what?" And that's all he wrote. All right, so Minnesota's been really good this year, and I was the funny thing. I actually predicted them to come in second in the division. I thought they were going to be good, and they were everyone was sort of forgetting about that. Okay, let's go back. Okay, I want to answer your trade, Tom. Good question. Did Bennington kibosh the deal to Edmonton? If I knew it, I would. You'd say probably can't report it, but I'm just asking. I have not heard one way or the other on that one, honestly. I don't think he would have. I mean, does it make sense for him to do that? I mean, he's only got 1 year left after this year, I think. And you're going to a team that's been to the Stanley Cup Finals twice, and you're going to play with Connor McDavid. I think if I'm a goalie, I'm like jumping all over that. And it would have been interesting because, like, apparently, and I'm going to give McDavid some credit here. And not many people are going to report this because everybody's afraid to say things because they think McDavid will be mad at them, but I don't care. And because I don't think I'm actually complimenting him as I usually do. I think he stepped up. And McDavid said, enough's enough, and we need a goalie. And nothing against Skinner because everybody likes Skinner. He's like, Marc-Andre Fleury thing to a degree. People forget that Marc-Andre Fleury was traded from Pittsburgh because everybody liked him so much, and he really wasn't doing the job at that point. Um, so stood up from the dead. Yeah, pretty much. Thanks. No, we're going to do the podcast a lot more. There's been so much going on behind the scenes of Hockey Buzz, and we're going to have something really exciting on Christmas Day to show you guys, which is like something that I've been working on like crazy. There's just a lot. It's a new website after 20 years, and I know there's a lot of things, but the comments are going to be fixed. By the way, that's going to be fixed very soon. You won't have to sign in to see the comments. You only have to sign in if you want to comment, which is how it should be. And I don't know why it wasn't at the beginning. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything else about that. I will just say that McDavid needed to do this. Like he kind of did it by signing just a 2-year extension, right? Like that was a statement. I mean, like my source said, and I wrote about, like, he didn't sign a 2-year extension because he was saying, I'm going to be patient here. That wasn't what happened, right? So, he's saying that, he's going to give him 2 more years, and he wants to win for Edmonton. I know he does, but I also know he wants to play in LA, and I've heard that a lot. So I think that's where inevitably McDavid ends up, but I think he still wants to try, and there were people who thought once he won for Canada at the Four Nations that he did his duty as like a Canadian superstar. But he doesn't feel that way. He wants to win for the Edmonton fans. He does. He really does. Sorry, I should look up more cameras up there. All right. So I thought that this was good. And being the fact that he wanted, what I was told was Binnington, who I can never say the name. Sorry. Like I said, it's been a long day. Jordan. He wanted Jordan B because Jordan B has shown, like, if he wasn't playing well last year when he went to the Four Nations, but he took off, right? Like he was just incredible. That's what Edmonton needs, like, because they don't need a goalie to win the games for them. Really, they just need a goalie not to lose a game for them and occasionally win a game for them. And all they needed was a couple more games and they won a Stanley Cup. Like, they needed one more game 2 years ago. And I'm not putting that on Skinner. I'm just saying that Bobrovsky won some games. He just did. And that's the difference. And I thought that Jordan Binnington was the perfect person to come into that Edmonton situation because first of all, he has that personality. He just doesn't care about anything. He's hilarious. I remember when he won the Stanley Cup and I was talking to him afterwards. He's a nut. He's just a nut. Like, he is one of the weirdest people you've ever, like, I thought he's like one of those guys who looks beyond you and he's talking to you, but is totally listening to you. And you think he's not listening to you at all. But then he's like, yeah. And then he just focuses on you really quickly. That's Jordan Binnington. I'm probably talking really fast. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. But he doesn't, right? That doesn't happen. And I wonder how much the St. Louis Bromberg, whole thing. I wonder if that played into it. If there's still bad blood between the two, that they don't really like to get along that well, and maybe it was just easier to get Jarry. It was definitely cheaper, I think. I think Edmonton would have had to give up some draft picks. I heard maybe as many as 2 second-round draft picks to get Binnington. They didn't do that, right? So that's kind of good. Yeah, I mean, listen, Jarry could be the answer, and why not? Like, it's if Jordan Binnington, why can't I say this name tonight? If Jordan wasn't like available or just didn't exist, I would have been thrilled with the Tristan Jarry trade with him. I would have. But yeah, I don't think he put the kibosh on it, Tom. I don't think he did, because it's just players inevitably want to win, and I don't think the Blues are going to win the Stanley Cup this year or next year, but the Oilers with him could have. Maybe they will with Tristan. Quinn Hughes, a year and a half. You got for a year and a half, right? And you just traded 4 major pieces to get him, right? But Bill Guerin is not an idiot. Like, if I'm doing a list, like, I always say I have faith in the 2 USA Bills, which are Bill Guerin and Bill Zito. Both of those guys, they know what they're doing. Zito's obviously won in cups and proves it, but so does Guerin. Like, Guerin knows what he's doing too, and Guerin's the GM of the Team USA not for nothing. Although I think Zito should be, because shouldn't he won the couple cups? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I love Billy Guerin is great. My favorite Billy Garrett story, real quick, just because I'm waiting for a text on the. We're waiting to see if Elias Pettersson goes somewhere. If you're just joining it right now, so that's what's actually happening right now. We're going to see if that happens because that could happen, and it's not likely, maybe, but who knows? We don't know, and there's definitely word about it. So when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, when Guerin was there and Crosby was there, I was on the ice, and Crosby, in the typical Crosby way, was like taking pictures with everybody with a cup. Like he wouldn't say no to anybody, and he was just, and it had gone on. These things go on for a while, and there's a point at which the team wants to just go back because they used to celebrate in the locker room right away, but now they celebrate on the ice with their family, and then they go back by themselves to celebrate in the locker room. Correct. So Bill Guerin comes, he skates over to me because I met him in St. Louis way back in the old blackout days, and he skates towards me like really fast, and I'm standing there, I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Where's the cup?" And I'm like, "Sid's got it over there, in that corner over there." And Bill's like, "Nah." And he skates to Sid. He says, "Last picture," grabs the cup, and Bill Guerin skates into the locker room, and the whole Penguins team follows him, and he just did what he had to do. Which was such a cool moment because you saw he knows that Sid's not going to say anything bad or to anybody or say I got to take it but Bill's like, I don't care, I'll do it. And I thought that's leadership. That's, to me, like, that's the kind of thing. Him and Pronger were just that they were on the same team in St. Louis for a while. That having those two as leaders. How would Detroit or Montreal? This is from William Matthias here, sounding very Swedish, William. How would Detroit or Montreal be able to do a Bennington trade? Yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think no, Detroit or Montreal, to me, because I'm with you. Like, I know Montreal needs a goalie. Montreal is though he deserves a little bit more leeway than people are giving him. I mean, it's only part of the season, and he's really ahead of schedule when you think about it. And the other kid there has been winning all the games for them, right? So, I mean, Detroit obviously would like a goalie too, but that's not their real problem. Their real problem is scoring and getting like some defensive depth, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, because you can't give a goalie back. That's and then in Bennington, I think from what I understood, he had like a 15 team, like 15 teams he would go to, and I don't think Detroit would be one of them. And Montreal, people are, it's my favorite city in the world. It was my favorite team growing up as a kid until the Flyers, but and it's still like my second favorite team now. But yeah, to me, a lot, because the taxes in Montreal, it hits people. Like, so Bennington's going there. Unless he's going to win, that's the difference. Taxes are higher in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, obviously, than they are in Alberta. But if Montreal was like on the cusp, which, I mean, they made the playoffs last year, barely. And while I did pick them to win their division, which is kind of nuts, they're not on the cusp. Like, that's not. Yeah, I mean, EP40 is. Detroit and Montreal will both be in on him for sure. He is the perfect person to come into Montreal in some ways because if Montreal Canadiens fans are anything, they love superstars. You got to be good though. I mean, look at the grace that they've given Patrick Laine. Does anybody else besides me think that Patrick Laine is just terrible? I mean, when I watch him play, I just think that he's awful. And he's especially awful when you know how much skill the guy's got. I mean, there was like a time when Laine McDavid was like a question mark, wasn't it? I mean, no, not really, but there were some people who said, yeah, Laine could be really good. Yes, exactly. A very Kovalev type player from Montreal. And they held a parade for Alex Kovalev when he left. Remember that? Like, Alexei Kovalev was, as Gretzky said, and I never disagree with him. Why would I? Had the most skill that he'd ever seen of any player, and that's coming from Wayne Gretzky. So Alexei Kovalev, but he didn't always show up like in Montreal, and Montreal he was better, but the Rangers he was like so good, but not as good as he could have been. So I think, yeah, when I look at that, I kind of see a situation there very similar to EP40. Yeah, like he comes in there and man, if he just does some of his dazzling things, that's the Montreal fan base love to be dazzled. And it's fun. That's why it's so much fun to go to a game there because there's such a deep love of hockey. Then they just appreciate players' skills. So yeah, I think Detroit and then Philly could be in on EP40 too because they need a goalie. I mean, they not a goalie. They need a center. Tocchet had, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went down last year between Tocchet and Miller and EP40, but I don't think that. What's funny is that Tocchet wasn't really involved in that EP40 thing with Miller as much as you would think he was, and probably not as much as he should have been, to be honest. And he's definitely the kind of coach who wants the locker room to be its own thing. And he doesn't, and I've seen that in Philly too. And some people don't like it because of it, but he's definitely EP40 and Michkov would be interesting. That would be, they need to get Michkov his center, People are going so crazy. It's so funny. How does this change the balance of power in the Western Conference? I mean, it's a little hard to say. One of the most respected people I've talked to, I talk to all the time, who's part of Hockey Buzz now, and he's part of our staff and team, everything that is Kevin Allen, and he's been on here many times. And I called him right after this trade happened, and Kevin said, and I said, well, Minnesota's, they're going to be good. And Kevin's like, I don't think they're going to be better. And I said, I do, but that's the thing. Are they going to be better? I think they are. And you also have to remember the Wild have this thing. Ever since they come in the league, they always do this survey, and I've done it before on Hockey Buzz too, where you ask, what's your favorite team and what's your second favorite team, right? The Wild are never anybody's second favorite team. The Wild have their fans, but they don't have fans outside of Minnesota like a lot of other teams do. And why is that sometimes? Well, for a long time, I think that was because they really didn't have a star until they got Kaprizov. And he's still not. They have a star in Quinn Hughes. Kaprizov is a star. He's the best, in my opinion, best stick handler in the NHL. But Patrick Kane's there too, but Kaprizov has probably caught him. But I think that when you put so suddenly what happens when you get Quinn Hughes and when you get in Kaprizov and you get him playing the way he's playing is suddenly the whole thing changes and they're on the national games on TNT and people are going to watch the Wild and they're going to see those cool green and yellow jerseys and they're going to like the Wild. And I think that people like the Wild a lot when Marc-Andre Fleury was there too. I think that played into it. So they have longed for star players in Minnesota to become a team like that other people say, that they're star powered. And they are. I mean, they traded a couple guys. Russi is really good. I did a whole story on him earlier this year. I compared him to somebody and I can't remember who it was. Who was it? Oh, who's that? We got something going on. Apologize for this. Let's see. Nope. False alarm, guys, I think. All right. Yeah, if we, it's 9:00. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes and we'll see where we are. But yeah, I mean, hi Randy, how you guys doing? Hockey Buzzcast will be back. I've been working on getting a co-host that's going to be with me all the time for the most part. And then we're going to still have Luke on. Luke Ravitz. We'll have Kevin on, of course. But everyone, what Mike did really well was that he helped me with when I'm dealing with all the rumor stuff. He helped me kind of do this. This was one of Mike's responsibilities, and he still does a great job with the hockey news. But the tough part about the Hockey Buzzcast is I gotta put the blog first, and that's because that's where honestly we don't make any money on the Buzzcast, but I enjoy doing it because I like talking to you guys and I like just talking to anybody because I work by myself, a lot in my office alone all the time. So I think I found somebody who's going to be helping me make sure the show is on track, and then I can come in and do my thing, which is what I need for this because there's a lot going on with the new hockey buzz, and it's fun. I mean, and I love the fact that we have a new hockey buzz, but I know, you know, a lot of people want a lot of things, and I don't blame them because you miss what you don't have anymore. So, let's see. So we talked a little bit about Jari. If you're just joining us, I don't think that Jari is the answer for Edmonton. He could be, but I would rather go with a guy. And I don't even know if there is another guy like him, like than Bennington, because can you think of another goalie out there that I guess Bobrovsky is to a degree. Like the Bobrovsky just is sort of is good in the regular season, but he's got that level, right? He can pick up that level really quickly. But Bennington is that, and that's what Edmonton's been lacking. So that's why I thought that was the better way for them to go. And something broke apart today because it's basically like Kulak was in both trades, so it basically either it just fell apart or suddenly St. Louis asked for a lot more. But I don't think it was Bennington nixing the deal. It could be. Again, I'm just going on. I have not heard either way, but I would be surprised. Kulak's a good player though too. Like that, like Dubas, thumbs up, man. That was a good deal. Dubas is funny because like one time I ran into him in the hallway of one of the games. He's like Eklund, man, I've been reading you for a long time. Like E5, man, E5. He's a good guy. He's like he's young, and it's really kind of shocking how young he feels when you talk to him but he's he's a good kid. He's a good kid and he's a good player. I mean, not good, a good GM, I think. Not, I think he's much more suited for Pittsburgh than he was Toronto, but that's my opinion. All right, so we talked about that. We talked about Hughes. How many people in the we have a lot of people in the chat here, so for the heck of it, let's just throw this out there. I know there's gonna be a delay, but after I say this, but how many people think that Minnesota did the right thing by giving up what they gave up? So say who won the trade. So say Minnesota, just you can put Mini or you can put Vancouver, who won the trade. Because it's I'll give you a second to talk about that amongst yourselves. Just kidding. All right. Yeah, because I think it always is too early to tell. But the early off is they gave up a lot, right? But I like when teams go for it. I like that. That I don't know. To me, that's always been a thing. Like I like when teams go for it. Okay, so no one's responding to that question, which makes me worry that we're not on the air or something. That'd be cool. Someone say something. It says, all right, it says we're still here. All right. I could put the comments there. Oh, I never do that. Okay, cool. All right, so so you guys are not making me feel good right now because who won the trade? Mini or Vancouver? Just throw it up there, one or the other. But let's just hope we're still on. Let me check. Why don't I look and see if we're still on? That would be good, right? Technology. Yeah, we are. Okay. Good, right? You guys just don't like me. That's what it comes down to. You're just not going to talk to me. I don't blame you. I wouldn't talk to me either. But we are still in the air. All right. And thanks, William, for throwing it. I just want to add Skinner Lust. Okay. I'm confused by that, but as good as Rossi is, you still think Minnesota won the trade. I think what you're saying, William, is very funny, but I don't understand. I'm going to read it out loud for everybody else. I want to add that Skinner lost to Buffalo, traded. Hughes lost to Buffalo. Hughes was traded. Got it. Seattle lost to Buffalo. Who's going to go from there? So this is like if you lose to Buffalo, basically, it's the end of the line. You're saying that's like you're gone. It's hard to say anybody who got Quinn Hughes lost the trade. That's how I see it. It's a time will tell thing because if they only have him for a year and a half, but they have him for 2 Stanley Cup runs. That's the big thing, and that's why we knew this was going to get done soon, and why I wrote last week after talking to somebody that I said we woke up this morning in a new Quinn Hughes world because the concept of New Jersey was New Jersey's like wasn't going to. New Jersey would have had to give up Jasper. Think about what they would brass. They would have had to give up a lot. Think about what Minnesota gave up, and New Jersey doesn't want to give up that to bring a kid in who they don't know, who they would rather bring into a team that they built. They built a really nice team there in New Jersey, so they feel like they can get him for free. This also, though, opens the door for Jack Hughes, or as I like to call him, Jack Hughes, to maybe end up in Minnesota. I mean, that's the other way this could go. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, it's fun talking to you guys. I really appreciate. And if, like I said, the thing we're going to be watching tonight, and probably the next several days, is what happens with Elias Pettersson, EP40, as they call him, because I think that this is just the beginning of Vancouver. Like they just brought in Marco Rossi. That he's your center. He's your number one center of the future now. So Pettersson's contract is so big. That's the problem, right? It's it's $11 million a year. So Vancouver's going to have to either eat some of that, or they're going to have to get somebody else to eat some of that. But if you can get him down to $7 million or $8 million, even, that's worth it. That's well worth it to bring in a guy like Pettersson. All right, guys, thank you very much, and thanks for all your patience with Hockey Buzz. It's going to get better. I promise you, it's going to continue to get better. We are well aware of everything. We want things fixed just like you do. After you've had a site for our other site we just had for 20 years and it just was broken, we couldn't fix it anymore. We tried so many like Band-Aids on the site. So this is going to be better, I promise you. And we have a really special surprise for everybody coming on Christmas Day. So I'm looking forward to that. So guys, thanks for being in the chat room. Thanks for watching. And remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. I will talk to you soon. Who knows? Maybe later tonight. We'll see. Never know.